Hey y'all, I'm Lachlan, and for today's video, I'm going to be doing some redecorating with some of the farm areas that I had previously done on the island, and also discuss a list of things that I want to accomplish as soon as the update comes out. So let's just jump right in. Okay y'all, I know I mentioned that I was going to redecorate some of my farm areas, but I figured I'd start it off with decorating the dock, since Kapp'n will soon be coming to this dock in the new update. So I have a few things in my pockets here, and I'll get to decorating here in just a moment. The whole purpose of this video is to not only redo or kind of refresh some of the farming areas that I did, and yes, including the one I just completed in my last video, but to go through a list of things that I'm excited about in the new update. So number one on my list is visiting the Roost. For me, I am the most excited about the Roost because he is essentially the first thing we knew for sure that we were getting. So it kind of all boils down to him, essentially. Originally, the Roost was a place for you to also work there. And so I'm curious to know if that's still going to be the case, if we're still going to actually work there, or if it's going to be more of a he's always working there and we can just go there to hang out with NPCs, villagers, our own friends via online. So I'm excited to buy a coffee, see who visits. I know in the direct it showed that Isabel was visiting. So I'm curious to know if Isabel visiting the cafe was something that they just showed in the direct because she was amiiboed in and that's kind of how they enter the cafe. Or is that like one of the first visitors you see when you show up and get your first beverage from Brewster is her coming to take a break, essentially. Didn't realize how hard it was going to be to talk about this stuff and also do builds, so I'm curious to know how the other little revamp areas are going to turn out, but just bear with me. So since number one on my list is visiting the Roost, I don't think Kapp'n, unless I amiibo him in, is going to be able to visit anytime soon, especially when he first shows up, because we're going to be utilizing him quite a bit. So I made a little coffee cup here for him, and then one of the mom's tea cozies up here as well in case he wants tea instead. But essentially here's his little rest stop. Actually, let me go into Nook's and see what they have today, and I'll continue on my list here. Let me run and get some bells to buy that clawfoot tub because I cannot leave that behind. And while I go run and get bells, I will go off of number two. So visiting the Roost being number one. Number two is going to resident services and buying everything that we can from the Nook stop. You know, we're gonna get all of those new items and I'm gonna be very impatient waiting for those. So that's definitely something that I'm not gonna wanna wait for very long. So I put it as number two on my list, that I'm gonna buy all of the things with my Nook Miles. We'll have reactions, items, hairstyles that we could potentially get. And then number three on my list, and speaking of buying all of the things, another place that will essentially have new items for us is Nook's Cranny. I'm gonna obviously want to come here and purchase, you know, there'll be new items here, there'll be new DIYs that we can essentially get. I'm not sure where we're going to be able to purchase the crops, so I'm curious to know if we'll also be able to buy some of the new crops via seeds from Nook's Cranny, or are we going to have to essentially wait until we see Leaf or pay for the Lloyd at Harv's Island. So I'm also going to do a little bit of cleanup here because I do want to add some additional crops here as well. So while I do some of that cleanup, I'll continue on down my list. I'm going to also mention hunting for gyroids. So we should, off the bat, be able to dig up gyroids just like you do fossils out of the ground. So I'm curious to know if they'll be there day one once the update comes out. I'm assuming so. Or is that going to be something we kind of unlock with Brewster? Whatever the case may be, that's another thing that I'm excited about, is being able to dig up all the new gyroids that we're going to be able to find, even customize them. I'm excited about that as well. So that is number 5 on my list. There, I think that looks good. I'm leaving a lot of empty spaces for hopefully some of those newer crops, but for now I think this is what it's gonna look like. So here is my little build that I did the other day, and in fact some of these weeds have really grown up since then. They're trying to overtake everything, but I am going to clean up a little bit of this here. As I am doing that, I will go over the next item on my list, which is visiting Harv's island. So the whole point of me speaking to Harv the other day was so that we can go to his island and be able to pay off all of the Lloyds that are there, and essentially be able to see Leaf and Red and all those other NPCs that we love to see on a more regular basis by visiting them at Harv's Island with the RV that they have parked there permanently. So that is going to be the next item on my list, is visiting Harv's Island with enough bells essentially to pay off all of the Lloyds that are there. And there we go. So after visiting Harv's Island and paying off the Lloyds, another part of that island, besides getting new hairstyles from the ABD in residential services, you can also go visit Harriet and she can give you a new haircut. There are certain hairstyles that Harriet will have that you can't just get from anywhere. So I will be sure to check her out and see what other new hairstyles she may have. After visiting Harv's Island is going back to the island and visiting Kapp'n, traveling to all of those new islands that he'll take you to. That way we can pluck all the new weeds, all the flora that we can maybe get, the vines that they're gonna have. I'm so excited for the vines. It's kind of gonna be a natural ladder that we can place back at home and use. So I'm super excited about that. Alright, I think that's what I'm gonna do with this area. There's a lot more empty areas here for all of the new crops. But the last thing on my list, and the thing that I'm probably gonna be spending the most time on so that I can get a lot of the new furniture, is visiting the Archipelago and doing my very first design build of a villager home while I'm there, buying the new items that they have there, and then possibly even building the first facility. So these are all things that I want to do within the first in-game day, but just so I wasn't overwhelmed, I did want to make a distinct list of in order of what I wanted to accomplish. Now going over my list again, number 1 being visiting the Roost, number 2 buying all the things with Nook Miles at the ABD machine, buying all the things at Nook's Cranny, number 3. Number 4 being planting the crops. Number 5, dig for gyroids. Number 6, visit Harv's Island, paying off the Lloyds and everything else you can do there. Number 7, visiting Kapp'n and him taking us to all those new mystery islands. And then number 8, going to the Archipelago and doing all those things that we can do there. One of the things that I really liked with the new DLC is I did play Happy Home Designer quite a bit and a lot more than New Leaf. So I'm super excited for that. So it's kind of that save the best for last type of thing for me. So I'm going to quickly time travel a little bit so that this tree that I planted grows a bit. And then I'll show you the little final scenes of the 3 little builds we did today. So I'll be right back. So a little bit about me as I'm ending off this video. I'm a person that I have to do a mind dump of sorts in terms of, you know, getting out there, whether that be on paper or verbally, what I have going on in my brain. Otherwise, I will obsess, stress, and essentially forget the whole thing that I was thinking of in the first place. So I thought formulating a list in order of importance seemed like the most sense to me. That way my mind isn't overwhelmed with everything with this new update. But I think I'm going to close it off here. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoy videos like this. And I'm excited to put out more content for y'all as well. But let's just jump right into my little final shots.